Welcome back, listeners, to episode 10 of the What Are You Listening To podcast here at Chisholm Elementary. This will be our last one for this school year, and I have two special guests for you today. Our first guest is the very principal of our school, the captain of our ship, Mr. Higdon. Hello, Mr. Higdon. How are you today?
How are you all doing? I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Mr. Higdon has been thinking about what song he'd like to share with the whole student body, and I can't wait to find out today. So would you please tell our listeners the name of the song you're suggesting and the artist?
So it's We're Gonna Be Friends, Jack Johnson. I think it was released in 2006, and the reason I've been listening to it so much lately is because I'm trying to put our fifth grade recognition video together, and I want to use it as music to go along with the pictures that are on the slideshow.
So, Mr. Higdon, would you say music adds something to these special occasions when we are celebrating things?
Absolutely. I think this song, some of the lyrics follows here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell. And as I'm starting the video, when the kids are in pre-K, those that are fifth graders that are graduating, and it's going through those pictures, that song, the tempo of that song, the lyrics, the way that it sounds, kind of just reminds me of going to school and being in elementary school. And so I think it'll set the tone for the video. The video is probably about 5 or 6 minutes, and it goes from pre-K all the way to fifth. So I obviously have to find another song to go with the back end, because the We're Gonna Be Friends song is probably about 2 minutes and 20 seconds or so.
I love the way you expressed how music can kind of evoke the emotions of what it's like to go to school and then leave and graduate. And we are so excited for all of our fifth graders and any of our students who are moving on to some other school. And we hope that any of your musical experiences here and all of your experiences at Chisholm are things you can take with you and keep in your heart. All right, we have one more thing. What would you like to say to our listeners?
Give the song a listen. I think you'll like it, and you'll kind of hear what I'm talking about as far as elementary school and the way that it resonates elementary school. So,
thank you so much, Mr. Higdon. Our second and final guest is the co-captain and the queen of themes, our assistant principal, Mrs. Morris. How are you today, Mrs. Morris?
I am good. Excited to be here. I've loved listening to the podcast, and I feel very honored to be a guest on the show.
Thank you so much for being willing to come and tell us what you're listening to. So my first questions for you are, what song are you sharing with us today, and who is the artist?
The song is I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. I have been trying to teach my two girls. I have an 8-year-old and an almost 4-year-old, and I've been trying to teach them the classic ballads of my youth, and Whitney Houston is right up there as one of the classic artists of my time.
I would agree with that. Whitney Houston is a legend, and her singing is unmatched by any as far as I'm concerned. What about this song do you like? Like, when is a time that you would listen to it? What do you find inspiring about it? Why should our listeners who've never thought about Whitney Houston, why should they give it a listen?
Well, for one, it's a power ballad, and it is excellent to sing into a spoon, a microphone that you may have laying around. And I'm trying to teach my girls the pure joy and magic of a good, solid lip syncing situation, preparing them for karaoke for when they're older. And there's just truly nothing that can be matched by a good lip syncing challenge. And Whitney Houston is one of those that when you perform and do it well, you will always be a winner.
I love the karaoke goals. Yes, we should all have these karaoke goals. Mrs. Morris, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our students?
I will always love you.
Excellent. Well, that's a wrap on this year's What Are You Listening To podcast. Thank you so much to our listeners who came along for one or more podcasts. We hope you found something that resonated with you about music and songs that you might be able to add to your playlist. And as we head off into the summer, we've got one more thing to say.
Give it a listen.